Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey of My Mother's Son podcast. Today I'm joined with another one of my former players, Mike Latona, who came up to visit us while we were just outside of Aberdeen, Maryland, now living in Baltimore. Mike, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Dan, for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. I love it. And I said this to Collin when I did the podcast with him, but you guys have no idea how much it means to me for you to drive 30, 40 minutes to come up and hang out with us for a couple hours. I mean,
It's
it
a
is.
small price to pay for somebody that's given back to us, so we appreciate it.
Thank you. It means a lot for sure. So I love sitting down and talking with you guys, talking with my old players, because it really does give me perspective of what our organization did for you guys. Seeing you now in your 30s, and I'm still gonna always call you kids,
Oh,
no matter what. If we do this when you're 60 and I'm 80 something, you'll still be a kid. But tell me a little bit about what's Mike doing now. What's the career? What got you from Berks County to Baltimore, other than lifelong Orioles fan?
Dad, lifelong Orioles fan, unfortunately. Well, now at least. But no, yeah, just work brought me down here. Yeah, just right now I'm working as a quality engineer with a company outside of DC. It's a lot of fun. Just started there about 4 months ago now. So I'm doing that. Recently discovered, well, not recently, but over the past probably 9 or 10 years, discovered, the outdoors world. So mountain biking, cycling, camping, doing all that kind of fun stuff. So
Cool.
that's kind of where I'm at now. Yep, just taking it easy, one day at a time.
Yeah.
Yep.
How long have you been down here in Baltimore now?
So I first moved down, I want to say 2011.
Wow.
And then, yeah, so I was here for, I think, 3 years. And then I moved back to Lancaster. And I was in Lancaster for about a year and a half, 2 years. And then I moved back down to Baltimore in 2016.
Okay.
So this is my second stint in Baltimore. And what's that now? Some close to 7 years now. 7 years back.
Wow.
So, yep.
Cool.
Yep, love it.
So you, in addition to playing for us, you worked for us for a little bit, helped
Yes.
with tournaments and
Yep.
that sort of thing. But the decision initially to move from Berks County, leave your family, to come to Baltimore again, not super far away, but certainly far enough.
Yep.
When you're in your early 20s at that point, I mean,
I think I was 20. I think I was 21 at the time.
okay. So
yeah.
How tough was that decision to kind of get out there and spread your wings and figure out that you're now an adult?
I think the first time, and granted, coming down here with not a lot of money in my bank account, just started a new job. I think the first time you have that moment where you're an adult, you don't have that safety net. Well, I have a safety net. I had my parents at the time. Always had that safety net. But I think the first time was, you're in a new place, you're meeting new people, you're going out and doing things, and your lifestyle or your checkbook can't, cash the checks that your lifestyle is leading. So I think the first time that I was like, oh, I can't do this was when I think was like maybe the second month I was down here, I had to pay rent. I had asked my dad, I'm like, Dad, I'm having fun. Can you help me out a little bit? Of course, being young, 21-year-old, like you're going out and doing all those things, going to the bars,
Right.
all that stuff. So that was kind of the wake up call. And it's like, oh, you need to learn how to do these things.
Right. Budget.
So budgeting is huge. Yes, that's a huge part of it. So yeah, that was kind of like the first wake up call. But I never felt alone. That was never a thing. But going from small town Berks County to bigger city Baltimore, I guess you could say Baltimore's a bigger city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it all depends on the kind of person you are. I was never, me growing up, I was never the most outgoing person. I was very reserved, always kind of a wallflower. But that coming down here and stepping out and putting myself out there, that was one thing I realized I needed to do to be successful in every aspect of life. So yeah, it was. I think the first year was tough because the friends didn't automatically come. You're more focused on work. But yeah, I had a really good experience when I first came down here, and it kind of it snowballed into something great, which is why I did leave, but I came back, and I came back for a reason.
Yeah.
Because the people here are just great people.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So going back to our playing days,
Yes.
what are some of the things that you learned on the field that have helped you throughout your career and life in general?
Baseball is not it's not for the faint of heart, I should say. The game will chew you up and spit you out faster than you realize it's doing it to you.
Oh yeah.
So I think there's a lot to say for perseverance. Yeah, I think that would probably be the word that I would probably pick to describe it, would be perseverance. It's something that you really have to, stick your head in the dirt and grind it out. So I guess correlating from baseball to the real world is not everything's going to go your way. And it's in real life and in baseball, it's never going to go your way 100%.
Right.
It's how you adapt to it. So say you're in a slump, you could be in a slump on the field, you could be in a slump at work, not doing well. It's how you kind of react to that, and make the changes, make the alterations that, you need to, realize what you're doing, realize what you're doing wrong, and then making those changes to kind of adapt to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that would be, it's the best way I could describe be perseverance.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. That's a great lesson for sure.
Yeah.
So, when you played for us, we did quite a bit of traveling. Gone to Myrtle Beach with us. You went to Vegas with us a couple times.
Twice, yep.
What, we ran things as an organization differently than what most travel ball organizations did.
Yeah.
We always traveled as a team, whether it was going up to Scranton for a day. We were in vans as a team. Parents were driving separately.
Yep.
Going to Rehoboth Beach. We were on buses. How did that philosophy help you as you were, going off into college?
So I was fortunate enough, I went to Alvernia. So are you relating to, the small, not fly by the seat of our pants, but going from that structure to I'm doing this as a student athlete structure? Is that kind of what you're alluding to?
Yeah.
So playing for Alvernia the 1 year I was there, we had the jail bus. I don't know if you ever saw their team bus.
I don't think I have.
It's an old gray. They painted it gray and yellow. Or it's all gray school bus. It is a school bus, and they just have Alvernian yellow lettering. Whether it's still there or not, that's where it was when we had it. So I guess I don't want to say I'm not the best person to ask that question, but I feel like going from that structure, especially going to Scranton for a day, or waking up at 4 a.m. to have an 8 a.m. game in Scranton. We kind of did that in college too.
Right.
But the structure, you don't have parents rushing you out the door to get you there. It's your responsibility to get up, get out the door, don't miss the bus, because they will leave without you.
Right.
Whereas, parents like mine, they are not going to let me do that.
Right.
That'll be the very last thing they let me do. So yeah, I guess, it's very much you have to be disciplined. Was I disciplined for the most part? Yeah, sure. Were there days where you didn't want to do it because you were out the night before? Yes, absolutely. But at the end of the day, you're there to do one thing. You're there, you're a student, but you're also an athlete. So you have to, you have to figure out what the happy medium is and how to navigate that. It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's something that you really should, speaking to any kind of student athlete in the future, figure it out sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I figured it out later.
At least you figured it out.
Exactly. Yeah. Some people don't figure it out. Yep.
So, the other thing that, I would always tell people about our program is, I would tell them, look, it's even more so than being about baseball. It's about the social aspect of it. So,
Yes.
Obviously you started with this when I think you were 13, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And, you were thrown on a team with, you came in with a group of a couple other kids from your same school, Wilson.
Yes. Yep.
But then all of a sudden there's, these Conrad Weiser kids and Daniel Boone kids,
Yep.
and, kids from all over the place. what was, how did that help you socially, getting exposed to, all these kids outside of your, own little community of Wilson High School?
Yeah, and that's a good question. I think I got very lucky with the years that I played for Berkshire because we all just kind of clicked. We all made sense. Me, Aaron, Isaac, the Smiths, we all just clicked. We spent all of our time together for the most part. So yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better experience. But there are some personalities that you do run into along the way that you do need to learn that, you need to respect each other as teammates, but then you also take that off the field as well, and you need to respect each other as people too. Sometimes that didn't always happen. You're always going to butt heads with people. Like, you're never going to be 100% on the same wavelength. And that obviously transfers into real life as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's navigating relationships like that can be difficult. But in the long run, it does help you grow as a person to, step outside your comfort zone or put yourself in situations like, coming to play for a new team against kids that you generally you might have heard of or played against and not like them for some reason. Then you get to learn new things about them, and you become, long-term friends with them. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And how does it affect then that following school year when you guys are now competing against each other? And obviously
it's fun.
It's that brother thing. Like, look, I love you, but I want to beat you down today. So,
exactly. I mean, it's fun.
It just like the first time you played against one of your Berkshire teammates in high school. I mean, what was that like?
I think who I played against first. Now we're pushing 20 years. Oh, I'm trying to think. So I can't remember all the way back to 13, 14, 15 years old, but I can remember playing in like high school county playoffs. One that stands out the most to me, and Jeff Smith will be able to. I don't know if you were at this game. We played Holy Name in the championship game in 2007.
Okay.
And Jeff was pitching, and like it might have been I think we were up like 7-1, 7-2, and Jeff was pitching. I think he came in relief. And of course, like me and Jeff were, freaking frack growing up, and I think he ran me. It might have been a full count, or it might have been like a 2-2, 1-2 count, something like that. He threw me, and I notoriously was horrible against lefty pitching. He threw me this loopy, nasty little slurve slider curveball, and I just fanned at it. And most times I will pat myself on the back. I was never a big strikeout person.
Right.
And just like any other person I would have been mad about.
Right.
But him, I was like, let him have it. I smiled.
You got me.
He got me. And it's fine. It's fine. It wasn't even a good pitch, but it's fine. I'll let him have it.
It's funny. And I think there is just the competitiveness doesn't go away, but there's a different level of respect at that point. As opposed to, when you were just playing against those guys, you didn't actually know them, so to speak.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that we discovered in our very first year when we, threw a team like that together, is that, we took these kids from Boyertown and Wilson and Mifflin and, who were fierce rivals during the season, and we throw them on this one team, and all of a sudden, man, we just see how they
two peas in a
gel.
pod.
Yeah. And it's like, when you kind of take down, all those differences, I relate it to society today, if you actually take the time to get to know people and concentrate on what you have in common, and for you guys, it was baseball, where I think if we would take that into society a lot more and sit down and have conversations with people who we may not necessarily think the same as, you'll actually find that you have a lot more in common with them than different.
For sure.
So if there's some way we could take that social experiment of, the early days of Berkshire Baseball and move it into society, I think we'd be moving in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things for Sandy and I on this journey is just, being able to meet so many different people from so many diverse backgrounds
Yep.
that don't think like us and don't look like us, but are incredibly wonderful people, and you just got to sit down and have that conversation with them and learn who they are and,
Yep.
what makes them tick. So,
Yep.
To correlate us doing that to you guys, and now kind of seeing it in real life is pretty cool for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So what you talked a little bit about, you've gotten into kind of the outdoorsy
Yep.
sort of life, hiking and biking and camping, and
Yep.
what brought that on?
I think it was always something I was interested in growing up, but of course baseball took up all of my free time, which I have no regrets about that at all. But then as you get older, you like you said, we meet new people, they bring you into new things or new experiences, and you just something clicked with you. And for me it was cycling. And so the first time I rode a mountain bike, I'm like, this is amazing. Like, why did I not know this existed?
Right.
And so now it's like I'm out on the trails at least 3 or 4 days a week. Whenever I'm not doing that, I'm looking at it on the internet. It's just a new hobby that, it's just, and what got me into it was just, like I said, reaching a new person that I met in my life and got me into it, and it just snowballed from there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And same for us. I mean, Sandy and I were literally just having this conversation the other day when we were hiking through Lake Anna State Park in Virginia.
Yep.
And I was saying to Herman, did you ever imagine we would be hiking as much as we do now? And the four-legged guy on this trip keeps us moving.
Yeah.
Whether he's 13 or not, he is definitely the leader of the pack. If we go 5 miles, he wants to go 6. And I know for me, like just being out in nature, I mean, it's, if you're not used to it, it's tough to put it into words, but it's pretty special to be out there and, just the fresh air and,
oh yeah,
like I said, the people you meet out there. It's really, really special.
The outdoor community is very rewarding.
Yeah.
Everybody's always wants to help or have you, make a new experience. And that's one thing I learned. I also got into rock climbing. I've been rock climbing for about 7 or 8 years now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so went out to Joshua Tree, California, climbed out there. I go to West Virginia and climb the new. Kentucky's the new, or the red. One of the two. Go up to the Gunks in New York. And it's just a community that wants to give back, whether they realize it or not.
Yeah.
It gives back to everybody, and it's just a really good feeling.
Yeah. So what's that like, the rock climbing? What's the adrenaline rush like when you're
scary? Yeah, I do a lot of lead climbing, so that's the rope isn't coming from above you. You're climbing and then setting your own gear. Well, that's sport trad climbing, traditional climbing. So you set your own gear, you clip in, and then if you fall, hopefully your belayer catches you. And sometimes you'll fall 5 feet, sometimes you'll fall 25 feet or 30 feet, and it's just you gotta have faith in the person belaying you.
Wow.
So, but no, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I've traveled doing that. It's like I said, it's a community that just wants to give back. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I never did rock climbing. I don't know if I ever will. But when we were in Arizona, a group of us hiked Picacho Peak, and first time in my life where we were going up like some 85-degree, cables,
yep.
hiking.
Yep.
So like when I'm reading the description of the trail and it's saying, make sure you have gloves, I'm like, what's this all about? So thank God I had the gloves, but never would have envisioned myself doing that even. And, it was pretty incredible, man. We got to that peak.
Yeah.
And I think it was an 1,800-foot climb in a mile. So there were some pretty steep climbs.
Yeah.
And, once you got to that peak, though, it was like,
it's worth
wow,
it. It pays off.
Like, we really just did this,
Yep.
So I can definitely see how you can get that rush with the rock climbing.
Yeah, it's an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I'll do that, but get me hiking and I can hike with the best of them.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
Keep it out there for
Yep.
sure. So, So what else about the game have you been able to, use as an adult now to, to kind of help you get through the everyday?
I feel like we touched on a lot, like the perseverance, the relationship building. Those are two things that I mostly take away from it. As far as the game goes, though, like I said, the big thing is just like not. It's never good. It's not always going to go your way. That's the thing. Don't get hung up on one game, one at bat, one pitch. Don't get hung up on one bad thing to happen in your day at in a personal relationship or at work or anything in that nature. So yeah, that's my big takeaway is perseverance. So I keep hitting home on that, but that's pretty much where I'm at.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're just about out of time. Before I get to my final question, anything that you want to chat about before we wrap things up?
I don't think so. If there's any other questions, for me, I'm an open book. So yeah.
Like I said, it means so much to me for you guys to come up and do this, to spend time. I know life gets busy, and
I know I haven't seen you in what 8 or 9 years, something like that.
If not more.
If not more.
If not more. I know when I sent you the message on Facebook.
Yeah.
The last message we exchanged was I think like 2013 about the banquet.
Was it really?
You'd reached out to have me save a banquet ticket for you.
Was that 2013?
I think it was. Yeah.
Where was I? Because where was I in 2013? I was probably just about to move back here.
Yeah.
Or back here, back to Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So,
but yeah. So I was actually asking Sandy, where are you guys planning to go when you're done in Pennsylvania? What's your next stop?
We'll ultimately end up out in Colorado.
Okay.
We're going to be out there for the Baseball for All National Tournament.
Yep.
Which is a girls' baseball tournament at a facility in Colorado where I'll do some podcasts out there.
Oh, nice.
But in between, so that's the end of July. So in between when we leave PA and the beginning of July till there, we'll figure it out. Nice. I don't know. And then for September is when we do that volunteer project again up in Antigo, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So we know that. And we'll probably come back to Pennsylvania for October before heading out to better weather for the winter.
Yeah.
This leg here, we had left Pennsylvania on July 31st of last year. So.
Oh, wow. So this is your first time back since
It's
then?
our first time back. So it's like 9 months. It's our longest, trip, not seeing the kids and all that sort of stuff. So.
Well, that's good. They'll be happy to see you.
Yes. Yeah. She's definitely looking forward to Mother's Day and
seeing
everybody.
I keep forgetting. I know Mother's Day is this weekend.
Yeah.
I need
make sure you call Dawn.
I need to call Dawn. You're right.
So, all right. So, final question. Like I told you, the subtitle podcast is Many Little People in Many Little Places, and it comes from the opening lyrics of a Michael Franti song, Gloria, which go, when many little people in many little places do many little things and the whole world changes. So what's one of the little things that Mike does on a regular basis to make the world a better place?
So I wouldn't say this is a little thing. It's actually the internet brings people together from all over the world. There's actually a group on Facebook called Solitary Cycling, and it's has to do with a lot of cyclists that live in remote parts of the world or remote parts of America that are kind of going through a rough time. They post every day. It's a very intimate group to be a part of, and somebody always posts something every day like, hey, I'm going through like a hard time. Does anybody have anything that they can want to talk about, or can they relate to this? So every day I actually wake up and I check this Solitary Cycling Facebook page. I usually write something in there to somebody that I don't know. I leave them a message, or if they're online, I shoot them a message and I talk to them. And that's usually my 7:30 to 7:45 morning. That's and so cool. It's kind of like not a words of affirmation, but it's an encouragement for your day if you're having a hard time. So that's kind of my. Now I've posted if I've had a rough day in it, and somebody's always reached out to me. So it's kind of like I said, it's a community that likes to give back. So that's kind of what I do. That's
very cool, and especially with the fact that you don't know these people other than through this community.
It's like a one-day pen pal kind of thing.
Yeah. That's really very cool. Yep. That is very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. So again, Mike, I appreciate you taking the time. This is a blast. I love getting together with you guys. I love the time we spent with your parents
Yep.
down in Galveston. So that was a lot of fun. Hopefully next time we're coming through Baltimore, you have some time to get together again.
It's an Orioles game. Maybe the Red Sox will be in town.
Yeah, they're both terrible this year. So
are they that bad? Are they that bad this year? The Sox?
Yeah, they're not good.
Maybe the Yankees are on like 12-game win streak or something
like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So you never want to see that.
Yeah. At least we have that in common. We both hate the Yankees.
That brings everybody together.
Without a doubt. All right. So again, I love that you took the time. I appreciate it. For folks out there listening, be sure to check out my blogs and other podcasts at danclouser.com, and be sure to go on Amazon and pick up one of my books, The Beauty of a Diamond Through the Eyes of a Coach, or The Journey of My Mother's Son, which is fresh off the presses. Mike, thanks again.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
You got it.